What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager class Thundercracker from the Transformers the movie. And before we take a look at the figure itself, we will first take a look at the packaging that he does come in. So right up front we have a picture of Thundercracker in robot and alt mode. Transformers Studio Series, the Transformers the movie, Thundercracker, Hasbro. On this side, a nice profile shot of Thundercracker. There's his name, Studio Series, Transformers the movie. On this side, the rest of that art there, Autobot logo, Studio Series, Voyager class in many languages. On the back of the packaging, we have a screen grab from the 86 movie featuring Thundercracker. Over here we have his name and the movie and a brief bio. Thundercracker prepares for battle alongside Decepticon leader Megatron. Down here we have some more product images. Transforms in 27 steps. He's authentic. Hasbro on the bottom, a barcode on the top. Transformers the movie, Thundercracker, Takara Tomy. And one final thing to take a brief look at before we dive into the figure. He does, of course, include his instruction manual. So you have Thundercracker there, 8 and Up, Studios Series, the Transformers, the movie, Thundercracker, Takara, and Hasbro. And now getting to the figure, this is Thundercracker as he appeared in the 86 movie and the G1 cartoon. And this is such a great take on the Seekers. This is a great Seeker mold and I can't wait for Skywarp and Starscream. This is so much better than the Siege mold. But coming in close so we can take a look at the details on this alt mode. You can see right up front the beautiful blue paint that they used all throughout this figure. Thundercracker, I think, is my favorite coloring of the Seekers. But anyways, we have the translucent plastic orange cockpit there with a little bit of grayish plastic there coming through the back, a little bit of black there. You can see you have your thrusters coming around here, your 2 Decepticon logos, one on each wing, red and white stripes there. And as you can see, you have 2 thrusters right there that you can slightly move around a little, even though you're going to move his foot with it. So I recommend keeping it where it's at. But there's the top of the alt mode. There's the bottom. You do have a landing gear that can flip in if you wish, and he can fly away. And as far as accessories go, Thundercracker comes with 2, both of which are actually on his alt mode already, but we'll go ahead and pop them off for now. We'll have to take them off for transformation anyways, but as you can see, you just get 2 null rays done in translucent plastic and painted over in blue. Nicely detailed, but those are your 2 accessories. And just for one quick alt mode comparison, here is Thundercracker with Studio Series Coronation Starscream, who is the Siege mold. So we can go ahead and see what changes they made between the Siege mold and the new Studio Series mold. As you can see, pretty much exactly the same size, but the Studio Series mold just simplified with all the rivets and lines and whatnot, making it more cartoon accurate. If we flip around to the bottom, they are still about the same. Down here, you still have the same formation going on. So overall in alt mode they do look about the same, but in robot mode that's where we will really see the improvement with this new version. And speaking of robot mode, let's go ahead and transform this guy so we can get to it. If you haven't already, pull your null rays off, sit those off to the side, and flip his little landing gear up like so. And now we can really get started. So the first thing we're going to want to do is come back here and just flip these sides up here and go ahead and just pull these pieces backward like so. Then what we can do is untab these wings from multiple different places. As you can see, they're on double hinges, so just swing them forward, and that tab there will go into that slot right there. So just line it up. You're going for that slot there, and just line that up, tab that in like so. And on the other side, do the same thing, just untab that from its multiple tabbing points. Use your double hinge once again right into that tab there like so, and that's how you want that looking. Now what we're going to do is raise the camera because you cannot see what I'm doing. And now turning to the legs, the first thing you're going to want to do is untab this little panel here and bring it up. You can see it will kind of just sit right in there like so. No tabbing point or anything, but it will sit nice and flush. Then untab these 2 sections. You can see they are tabbed into the top 2 slots. You're going to extend the legs and tab them into the bottom 2 slots. So just extend the legs like so, push these back up and tab them in. And coming back to the front to finish up the legs, we will extend his feet like so, split the legs, swing these pieces around, and this is a little hard to show. Oh, well, they are removable. We'll talk more about that later. But you can see there's this little piece that sticks out there, and that's going to go into that little notch right there. So just notch that in like so, bring that around, notch that in like so, and there you have one formation of your legs all done. That's how we're going to keep them for now, but we can move up the body and go ahead and untab this section from the arms like so, and that will allow you to get in there and pull the arms out to the side like so. And coming up to the cockpit, we're going to go ahead and bring it back like so. That's the way you want that looking, and we're going to rotate around like so, and you can see it's on a double hinge. You're basically just going to hinge it down. Make sure you take these two pieces, push them down, and you can see you have a T-tab here, and you're basically just going to slide that up into the cockpit. So just bring this piece down, slide that cockpit back, and that should make sure you lock it in well, and that should lock in like so. Then what we're doing here is making sure the arms stay on the outside of these little blue tabs in here, and everything will just sit nice and flush like that. You can straighten his head out if you want. And coming to the arms, you're just going to want to bring them up, open these pieces, bring out the hands, bring those back up. Same thing on the other side. Bring out the hands, bring that back up like so, and do a quick 180. Make sure we got everything done. We did. Yay! There you have the new Studio Series Seeker Mold Thundercracker in robot mode. And I am certainly of the belief that this is the best mainline Seeker mold that we have. This is honestly awesome. Of course, it carries a lot of engineering from the Siege mold, but overall, just a great looking figure. But coming in close on the head sculpt, you can see the beautiful red eyes with the helmet there and the gray faceplate. You have your cockpit, of course, right dead in the center. Looks so screen accurate, with your little openings and whatnot. Just coming down very simple, keeping it cartoon accurate, but also very good looking with a little bit of that gray there on the feet. Coming up the sides, you can see you no longer have the nose cone out on the backpack like you did with the Siege version, so that is very nice. Just overall looks really, really good, but we can, of course, make him look a little better. But before we make him look a little better, we are going to go over the articulation. So the head is on a ball joint. It can slightly wiggle and waggle. It can rotate a full 360, but you kind of have to mess around with it. It can look up quite a bit and can't really look down. The arms can do a full 360 if you were to bring them out and kind of move the wing out of the way. They can move in and out. You have a bicep rotation. You have an elbow bend of slightly over 90 degrees. Nothing at the wrist, but you do have a waist rotation. You can move that little panel up there to get leg movement forward, that forward, backward, just about that far, not as much there. Outward, you can get a full split. You do get thigh rotation at the knee. You get 90 degrees, and at the feet, they can move up due to transformation, can't move down, but you do get a slight ankle pivot. So overall, you get all of the modern articulation you would expect from a Voyager class. But as I was saying, we can make him look slightly better. First of all, of course, with our accessories, the null rays. Now, if you don't, for some reason, want to be accurate to the show, you can plug them on his back. But, of course, for accuracy purposes, you need to plug them into his biceps here. So just plug one there on that side, one over on this side. And now that is a Seeker. That kind of completes the look. But we can go even further, and we can do a little parts forming. I know, boo! But we can move these pieces off of the sides of the legs, and they will plug into these little ports here on the back. So just plug this one on this side, like so. Plug this one on this side, like so. And I guess that does give you a little more of a backpack, but still, it's nothing really, and it makes the figure look even better. So this is how I display my Thundercracker. This looks awesome. And now for robot mode comparisons. First, with a few of his Decepticon friends, we have him with, whoa, now we're going to have to move up, but we have him with 86-liter Megatron, so you can see how he looks with the leader of the Decepticons. Here he is with 86-liter Galvatron, so you can see how he looks with Megatron reincarnated. Here he is with his Gamer Edition counterpart, the Studio Series Gamer Edition Thundercracker, so you can see how that works there. Here he is. I knock things all the way over. Here he is with Studio Series 86. Get out of here, Laserbeak. Soundwave, so you can see how those two look together. And last but certainly not least, here he is with Coronation Starscream, so we can compare him with a Siege version of the Seekers. And as you can see, this is clearly much more accurate to what we get in the show. Just the way they've designed it looks much better from the front and even from the side and back. No more cockpit just hanging out on the back there. As you can see, this guy is really getting the job done as the Seeker. And last but not least, of course, here he is with a CG image of how he appeared in the G1 cartoon and the 1986 movie, so you can see just how perfect they got this Seeker mold and this Thundercracker. So this has been my review for the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager class Thundercracker, and overall, this is an absolute home run by Hasbro. As you can see, standing in front of you is an absolutely beautiful, super accurate robot mode, and the same can be said for the alt mode. He looks really great in both modes. Of course, he comes with the null rays as accessories, which is expected with a Seeker, but you wouldn't expect any more, so can't really complain about the accessories here. The articulation could be slightly better. I feel like they could have found a way to give him a deeper ankle pivot, and of course wrist rotation is always not expected but absolutely accepted. But other than that, I'd say this is by far the best 86 version of Thundercracker we have ever gotten in the main line. Of course, there have been some great masterpiece movies and some great third-party figures, but overall, as far as the main line goes, this guy hits it out of the park. He is the best. He holds the crown for the best Seeker mode in the main line for me, and that is why I'm super excited for Starscream and Skywarp to come, hopefully in 2026. I know Skywarp is supposed to, and I think Starscream is going to be a Target exclusive, but is also going to be in 2026. So fingers crossed we can get all three of the main Seekers by the end of 2026, and then I'm sure they'll milk this mold for the next 5 years on Seekers no one's ever heard of. But other than that, Thundercracker's a great video. Wow, English. He's a great figure, and I certainly recommend him. I was going into talking about future videos, and future videos I have now completed my Age of the Primes Superion or Aerial bots, so look out for reviews of all of them coming soon. We also still have to take a look at Arachnid, Barricade from Studio Series, and Micronus Prime from Age of the Prime. So we have lots of more videos coming soon. Stay tuned for those. Yes, you subscribe, like, comment, and stay tuned and stand up. But if I had to rate Thundercracker on a scale of 1 to 10, he's going to get the best and most solid 9.5 I think I've ever given, because the only thing I'm complaining about is articulation. I wish the ankles could pivot a little more, and I wish he had wrist rotation. Other than that, he looks great, he transforms great, he's fun to mess around with, so he gets a 9.5. So that's my look at Thundercracker. Don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I will see you all soon with those other reviews, and until then, roll out. Peace.